Okay, so welcome to my fanfic reading. I've decided to make this common thing that I upload because it was actually really fun making the last episode, video, whatever you want to call it. Sorry if the quality of this, like the quality of the recording, is slightly worse because it is 2 a.m. right now. Therefore, I don't know, there might be some background noises. Plus, I will have to warn you guys, I do live right next to a train, so occasionally you might hear the occasional train going by, so that's the thing. You might not hear it because of the mic quality, but just thought I'd warn you. So I will be recording each chapter in segments. Right now we're up to chapter 6 of Don't Threaten Me with a Good Time, a fanfiction by Lizard Fanfics. Lizard, I forgot to mention this last time, but Lizard is spelt with a Y, so LYZARD underscore FAN underscore FICS. Just like last time, the credits will be inside the description, and if you have any suggestions for fanfics that you'd like me to read, or suggestions for just videos in total, that would be greatly appreciated. And if you enjoy this, please think about subscribing or even just checking out my other content. So let's jump right into it. Just like last time, voice acting won't be very good because, I'm not going to be putting too much effort in it because this is just kind of experimental and just me mucking around having fun. Okay, that's enough rambling from me, and let's get into it. I recorded all of chapter 1 and then I accidentally deleted it, so let's go through this again. I'm so dumb sometimes. Anyways, chapter 6, Izuku's point of view. I'm not going to lie, I was pretty nervous to pick Dare. I mean, last time I had to choose, he didn't say anything and I got stuck in a skirt all day. What could he possibly have up his sleeve now? Kachan, I feel like asking truth or dare is pretty pointless with each other at this point. It's pretty clear this whole game is just a power struggle. I pointed out with a nervous shrug. Just fucking pick one, he said, annoyed. I looked down at the skirt I was still wearing and then back at him. I let out a long sigh before muttering, dare, obviously. He looked around the room quickly, mumbling something along the lines of fucking sassy, before turning back to me. But now everyone else has left to go get lunch. I dare you to get a piercing of my choice, he said with a smirk. My jaw dropped at his words. He can't. That's gotta be against the rules or something. He can't possibly think. He wants me to... No way. I can't. You're serious? I asked him, completely dumbfounded. He only nodded his head, his smirk growing. You can't do that. That isn't fair in the slightest. You know I have a fear of needles, I said back in accusation. I've always been terrified of needles. My mother and multiple nurses would have to hold me down when I'd need shots as a child. I saw realization cross his face, and then guilt? I forgot about that, he simply stated. His voice was soft, like it was last night, when it was just the two of us in the commons. I audibly gulped and held back a wince while nodding my head. I'll do it, I said, my voice slightly wavering. His eyebrows shot up in surprise. Deku, you can't actually be... I cut him off before he could say anything else. It was a dare, Kachan. I'm not gonna chicken out, I said to him. But Deku, you're terrified of needles. When you had to get a flu shot when you had to get a flu shot when we were like 7, you refused to go without me. Then when we got there, you were literally fucking bawling while clinging to me like a fucking koala, he pointed out. I have to admit, I was a little surprised he remembered. I'm not sure if it's a good thing or not. On the one hand, it's sweet he remembered, but on the other, that's super embarrassing. I'll be fine, Kachan. Seriously. What do I have to get? I asked, trying to think about how I'd have to get it. You're actually going through with this? He asked me skeptically. Jeez, it's like he's my mum or something. It's a little ridiculous. Yup, I said back. God damn, even before I remembered how scared you were of needles, I didn't think you'd actually go through with it, he said quietly, more to himself than me. Apparently, I'm just full of surprises today, I said with a shy smile and gestured to the skirt and my shaved legs. He seemed to have forgotten the state of my uniform because his eyes were slightly widened when he looked down. He looked back up at my face. You're gonna be scared shitless, aren't you? He asked. I sheepishly looked back at him, scratched the back of my neck. Definitely. I guess it's a good thing you'll be there, right, Kachan? Why would I say that? Why, for the love of everything, would I say that? He's gonna think I'm weird now. Stupid Izuku. Yeah, I guess it is. Hold up, was Kachan smiling at me? A soft smile that I haven't seen since we were 5? He just... smiling. What's happening? Who broke him? I was in complete and utter shock. I didn't have a clue. I didn't have a clue of what to say back to that. Thankfully, I didn't have to say anything. Midoriya, you there? Wait, Midoriya, there you are. We both whipped our heads to the voice. Todoroki was standing in the doorway of the classroom, looking between Kachan and I, with slightly furrowed eyebrows. His usually emotionless face only barely giving away his confusion. I glanced back at Kachan and saw that his smile was officially gone, making me frown in turn. He looks nice with a smile. You know that? Wait, you know what? Maybe... Never mind, that's stupid. Were you looking for me? Were you looking for me? I asked the dual-haired boy, giving him a look that said I'd fill him in later. His impassive face quickly returned as he answered. Yes, Shinso and I was starting to get worried. Oh wow, I didn't mean for you guys to worry. I was just talking to Kachan, I said, looking at the angry blonde. It was like 2 minutes ago, didn't even happen, just like last night when Kirishima showed up. I see, Todoroki said, shooting an apprehensive look at him. What do you have to do? He said, turning his eyes back at me. He's going to get a belly button piercing, Kachan said with a nonchalant tone. Todoroki's eyes widened at the same time mine did. I figured I'd just have to get, like, an ear piercing or something. He's gonna fucking do what? Well, Shinso doesn't seem happy. He's getting a belly button pierce. He's getting his belly button pierced. Got a problem with that? Kachan asked with a raised eyebrow. He's terrified of needles. There's absolutely no way he'd agree to that, Shinso said. I've only seen Shinso mad a couple of times. I haven't particularly liked any of them, and it's really not good when you try messing with someone he cares about, friends or family. I was about to interject because, this argument is about me and all, but Kachan beat me to it. He already did, dumbass, he said smugly. Shinso turned to me in complete and utter shock. You're seriously going through with this? He asked me. I nodded my head hesitantly. For some stupid game of truth or dare? You're serious? This is seriously going too far, he said, looking at the both of us. Whatever, it doesn't fucking concern you, Kachan said with an eye roll. You're fucking with one of my friends. So, yeah, it kind of does. You're fucking with one of my friends, so it is kind of my problem, Shinso said to the annoyed blonde. He can make decisions for himself, right? Kachan asked, getting a little heated. I really hope this doesn't turn into a physical fight. Not with you, he can't, Deku said back, raising his voice. Wait, not Deku's. Not with you, he can't, Shinso said back, raising his voice slightly. I looked at him confused. Of course I can make my own decisions with Kachan, right? What the fuck is that supposed to mean? Kachan basically yelled back. You're literally the blindest fucking person I've ever met. Okay, that is the end. Chapter 7, Azuki's point of view. There is a slight trigger warning. This chapter has mentions of depression, so please, if you are very, very sensitive around that topic, just try and skip over this area or be cautious, because there is a slight trigger warning, mentions of depression. I just wanted to say that before we got into the chapter. Azuka's point of view. You're literally the blindest fucking person I've ever met. They were both yelling at this point. How the hell am I blind? He's fucking looked up to you since you were toddlers. You said jump. He said how high. Then you had the fucking audacity to bully the shit out of him for the majority of his life. And guess what? He still fucking adores you. You ignorant asshole. He's made excuse after excuse for you. He screamed at him, but that doesn't make sense. Oh, he screamed, sorry. He screamed at him. And it's... no, this is still him talking. He screamed at him. Wait, you scream at him, and it's, oh, he's having a bad day, or... And it's, oh, he's having a bad day, or he probably didn't sleep well last night. The fucking lengths he goes to make sure nothing is your fault, to make sure it's his. Every time you yell at him for no reason, he takes it to heart. He tries to fix himself, because clearly something's wrong. Do you even know how depressed he was in middle school? Do you even care? You've told him to fucking kill himself, and the only thing he could think about is how if he actually did, you'd get in trouble. And heaven forbid that happen because of him. He is literally the closest thing to an angel you're ever gonna get. Bakugo, Katsuki Bakugo. And guess what? You don't fucking deserve him. You never will. Nothing you could ever possibly do will ever make up for how much of a shit person you've been to him. Todoroki, Kachan, and I were all just staring at Shinso in silent shock. I've never seen him go off like this before. He looked down for a few seconds and I thought he was finally done, but then he brought his head back up. He seemed calmer now, looking Kachan dead in the eyes, and his voice back to a normal level. You are the most terrible person. You're no better than any other villain. No wonder you're the one they took. He said, sorry. My voice went bleh. He said, his voice full of hatred. My jaw dropped at his words. Most of his yelling was uncalled for, and I was already planning on yelling at him, but that last part that he just had to add. That was too far. Way too far. Before I could say anything, or rather yell at him, he grabbed my wrist and Todoroki's and dragged both of us out of the classroom and down the hallway. I was trying to pull my wrist out of his grasp, out of his grip, but I wasn't very successful. So eventually, I just used a tiny bit of one for all. It was a little violent, but I didn't end up hurting anyone. Shinso and Todoroki were both just a little surprised. They both turned to face me with puzzled expressions. What the heck, Shinso? He had been able to drag me pretty far away from our classroom, so we were now just in a deserted hallway, pretty close to the cafeteria. What? He asked me confused. That was uncalled for and completely out of line, I shouted at him. God, some of that stuff. I told you guys that stuff. You weren't supposed to ever bring it up. Let alone scream it in the middle of our school. I felt the tears threatening to spill, but I was determined not to let them. Midoriya, I didn't mean... Shut it. You can take it back. Wait, you can't take it back. It doesn't matter what you say now. I said, starting to walk back away from them. Midoriya, no, Todoroki, I don't know what's happening with you two later. Todoroki, I don't know what's happening with you two later, but you and I both know if anyone could have shut him up, it was you. Hell, I probably could have shut him up if I tried hard enough, but I can really only hate myself so much right now. So I'm mad at you two. Because I kind of just need to be right now. I said, still backing away. I was just rambling at this point with no clue what I was really saying, but the words just kept falling out. I turned and started to sprint down the hallway. I heard Shinso call after me, but only once, so I assumed Todoroki stopped him. I wasn't sure where I was going until I ended up in front of our classroom door. I gingerly opened it, looking for a certain blonde. I found the room empty. I left confused, but determined to find him. I first went to the cafeteria, careful to avoid Shinso and Todoroki, who thankfully weren't there. I went up to Kachan's usual table, but he was missing from there as well. I asked Kirishima if he had seen him, but he hadn't either. He told me to check the roof, because that's where he'd usually skip. If he wasn't there, maybe his dorm. I thanked the cheerful redhead and headed for the roof. I pushed open the heavy door leading to the roof, causing a loud squeaking noise. I winced. I walked forward, hearing the door slam closed behind me. I found the blonde I was looking for, leaning against the railing on the far side of the area, looking out at the UA grounds. I slowly made my way to him. "Kachan?" I softly asked. Once I was only a few feet away from him. I didn't get a response as I reached the railing, leaning my back against it. "How'd you find me?" he asked. How did you find me? He asked in a surprisingly soft voice. I've heard him using a soft voice a few times in the past 24 hours, but this was different. He sounded lost. Kirishima said where you come to skip sometimes. I said gently. I didn't want to throw the spiky-haired boy under the bus, but I didn't want to lie to Kachan, especially right now. Fucking shitty hair. I heard him mutter to himself before he spoke up. I don't fucking skip. That part was a lie. I come up here to get away from all of the idiots and all of the idiots we have to deal with on a daily basis, he explained, not raising or hardening his voice once. Sorry, I said that angrily. I don't fucking skip. That part was a lie. I come up here to get away from all of the idiots we have to deal with on a daily basis, he explained, not raising or hardening his voice once. Even when saying that Kirishima lied about him, I furrowed my eyebrows in concern. I was worried, but I couldn't help but notice that he said we, implying that I wasn't one of those idiots he comes up here to get away from. For some reason, that made my chest feel all warm and fuzzy. Okay, that is the end of chapter 7. End of chapter 6. Neither of us said anything for a few minutes. I wanted to find him so I could talk to him. And here I am, with nothing to say. God, I really am a Deku. Don't say that. Okay, that is the end of chapter 7. Don't say that. Crap, I was muttering again. What? I asked him. Why would he not want me to call myself the very nickname he's used since we were kids? Is it true? He asked, completely changing the subject. I gave him an even more confusing look. Is what true? Is everything true? Everything the fucking grape said. Was it true? Were you actually depressed in middle school? Was I the reason? He asked, finally turning away from the view and looking at me. I couldn't help my slight gasp at the sight of him. His eyes, he was crying. Kachan, I said gently, trying to reach out to him. He smacked my hand away and moved back. No, answer the question. Were you depressed? He asked, looking me in the eyes. I held his gaze. Yes. I sucked in his breath. Because of me? He asked. I've never heard someone sound so downright scared. It made answering him just that much harder. Yes. he turned away from me like I had slapped him, leaning against the railing again and putting his head in his hands. Shit. But Kachan, but Kachan, no, stop, he was right. You're always making excuses for me. You're still fucking doing it. You're still fucking doing it, he yelled. He let out a shaky breath. You have to stop, he said quietly. Listen, Deku, Izuku, Norio, what the fuck am I supposed to call you? I'm not a good person. I am a horrible person. I am a horrible person to you, yet here you are trying to comfort me? Shinso was right. You're a fucking angel, and I don't deserve you, and I never will. Just stop, he said, looking back at me. Look, Kachan, there was a lot going on in middle school for both of us, and I said fucking stop. He snapped at me, causing me to visibly flinch. He saw and let out a sigh, dropping his head to his hands again. That's it. If he won't listen to me, then I'll make him. I closed the few feet that were in between us and grabbed his fist. I grabbed a fistful of the front of his shirt, pulling him to my face. He's taller than me, so he's slightly hunched over. His face was pure shock at my actions. Now freaking shut up and listen to me, I said, nearly yelling, but trying not to. Seeing as we were only a few inches apart now. You did some shitty things in elementary and middle school, and you haven't been too great in high school either. I started, but instantly regretting it. That's not... Jesus, I'm clearly not good at this type of shit. But, no, he didn't swear. I read that wrong. That's not... Jesus, I'm clearly not good at this type of stuff. But you know that, I said, scrunching my eyes closed and taking a deep breath. I relaxed my face and opened my eyes. Look, what I'm trying to say is that even though you did bad things in the past, doesn't mean you're a bad person now. Our past actions don't necessarily have to define us, as long as we don't let them. You clearly feel terrible for everything you did. Look at you, you cried. I said playfully, look at you, you cried. I said playfully, causing him to show the faintest sign of a smile. Every day is a new chance to start over and be who you want to be. All you have to do is take the chance, I said, trailing off, finally noticing how close we were. While trying to get him to actually listen to me, I had bailed both of my hands into the jacket of his uniform and brought him down to my height. And over the course of my mini speech, our faces had gotten even closer. We were centimeters away from each other. I was slightly panting due to how worked up I had gotten, trying to explain that he didn't have to be a bad person, and our breath was mixing on the tips of our lips. I saw him flick his gaze down to my lips, causing me to do the same. He tilted his head just the tiniest bit, as I subconsciously did the same. I swear I felt the faintest ghost of a kiss before the door of the roof slammed open, and handful of our classmates emerged onto the roof, causing me to jump at 3 feet away from him. I couldn't help but notice he hadn't moved back in the slightest. Hey, did you find him? Kirishima said, walking over to where we were both standing. I was blushing like crazy. as countless thoughts of what almost happened went running through my mind, and running through my head. Redhead wrapped an arm around Kachan's shoulder, which was quickly pushed off. "Hey bro, whoa, why are you crying?" he asked, his voice full of concern. The other students, Mina, Sero, and Kaminari, became very alert at hearing this. "You were crying? Oh my gosh, what happened? Wait, you can cry?" Kaminari was quickly smacked by Mina for this comment. Kachan just scoffed at all of them, trying to turn away, but Kirishima was persistent. "Bro, seriously, what happened?" We're your friends. You can talk to us," he said gently. "You're not my fucking friend's shitty hair." "You're not my fucking friend's shitty hair," Kachan said weakly. Kirishima placed his hand on the blonde's shoulder and wasn't pushed away this time. I couldn't fucking help I thought there was someone talking. I couldn't help the pang of jealousy. It shot through me. Bakugo, Bakugo, when are you just going to admit that you're stuck with us? He asked with a slight chuckle. "Yeah, sorry dude, but we're invested at this point," Kaminari added with a shrug. "Apparently, there's no return or exchange policy. I wasn't aware of this beforehand, but I guess we're stuck at this point," Mina said with a dramatic sigh. I actually say the side of Kachan's mouth quirk up. I actually saw the side of Kachan's mouth quirk up. Kirishima, Kaminari, and Mina all looked expectantly at Zero. I don't have anything funny or clever to say, but I agree with the other three," he said uncertainly. Mina face-palmed. They started to tell Zero how lame he was. A small smile made its way onto my face as I watched them. He'd be okay. I started to make my way over to the door when Kirishima called out, "Hey Midoriya, where are you going?" he asked. "I'm going back to class. Something you should probably all consider," I said with a joking look. "I'll pass. Want to hang out here with us?" "I know you were looking for Bakugo before. Did you need to talk to him or something?" He asked, looking between us. I smiled at them. But Kachan was looking at the ground, purposely not looking at me. "Nah, thanks for the offer, but I can just talk to Kachan later. He has to take me to get my belly button pierced," I said. His head snapped up, and I gave him a meaningful look that he seemed to get. Before they could all freak out about the fact I'm apparently getting my belly button pierced, I was out the door and down the stairs. Now that I wasn't worried about Kachan, all I had to worry about was the needle I'll have going through a sensitive part of my body. Oh joy! And that is the end of chapter 8. Chapter 9, Izuku's point of view. The rest of the class passed in a sort of blur. Kachan and his friends never came back to class. Not that I had really expected them to. Shinso and Todoroki seemed to understand that I needed space, so they steered away from me. That left me with Uraraka and Ito, which didn't bother me at all. We had it, if I can English. So that left me with Uraraka and Ito, which didn't bother me at all. We had started to grow apart a bit, and it was definitely nice to hang out with them. The three of us walked back to the dorms together and ended up going back to Uraraka's room to work on some homework. Ida helped me with some math, and I helped them both with English. Afterwards, we just sat around and talked. What happened with you and Shinso and Todoroki? What happened with you and Shinso and Todoroki? There was some very clear tension after lunch, Uraraka pointed out. I shifted to my seat, slightly uncomfortable with the change of topic. It's kind of a long story, I said. She nodded her head and signaled me to go on. I released a sigh, but I decided that she would just persist until I told her, so I caved early. I told them about the game with Kachan, not going into detail like I did with Todoroki and Shinso. I told them about the piercing and that Shinso wasn't happy about it, which ended in yelling and calling Kachan a villain. Uraraka gasped at that, saying that Shinso, of all people, should know what it's like to be falsely accused of being a villain. I just nodded and continued the story, ending on the roof and Kachan and I making out, but leaving out the near makeout. Ida proceeded to go on a rant about how all three of us are portraying rebellious and near unacceptable behavior, but Uraraka and I both seemed to tune him out and started to whisper to each other. What didn't you tell us? She said, with a knowing sort of look. I slightly flushed at that question. What? I told you both everything, I lied. She murmured, she murmured noise while dramatically nodding her head. I'll figure it out. Don't underestimate me, Deku, she said, an innocent smile forming on her face. My face seemed to pale. I didn't underestimate her at all. She's totally gonna figure it out. Time skip. I was back in my own dorm around 6, having finished our homework and Ida's lecture. I spent the rest of the night just roaming my room, not stopping to really do anything in particular. I had some soft music playing and I was quietly singing along. 3 hours flew by and I was starting to get ready for bed. My plans were halted, however, when a knock sounded throughout my room. I turned my music down just a tad and made my way to the dorm door. On the other side stood a certain blonde-haired boy, wearing black jeans and his signature skull tank top, and a jacket. Kachan? I asked, slightly confused as to why he was outside my dorm, so close to curfew. You're gonna let me in or what? He asked, looking down the hall to see if anyone else was out and about at the moment. Still confused, I opened the door wider, letting him into my dorm. During the few hours I had cleaned my dorm, not that it was dirty in the first place, we had just moved in a few days ago. What brings you here? I asked him, still very confused as to why he was at my dorm. I was worried for his answer. What brings you here? I asked, still very confused why he was at my dorm. I was worried for his answer. With everything that happened today, he could be here for various reasons. He could be here to yell at me for nearly kissing him. He could be coming to tell me he wants to stop the game. He could simply be here to discuss our project. If I'm being perfectly honest, I am scared that he wants nothing to do with me or this game anymore. We hadn't had a civilized conversation in years before last night. And now we're nearly getting along. I've missed me, my, it says me, but I know it's supposed to say my. I've missed my childhood friend. I don't want to lose him again. You have to complete your dare, remember? He asked. Wait, you have to complete your dare, remember? He asked with a smirk on his face. I swear, he's either scowling or smirking. There is no in between, except for the rare smiles I seemed to be finding. We're gonna do that now. But what, we're gonna do that now? But what about curfew? My voice went up an octave. My voice went up an octave as I asked the questions. He responded with an eye roll. Live a little. Jeez, Midoriya. I physically flinched at hearing my last name come from him. It just wasn't right. Please, if you won't call me Deku anymore, at least call me Izuku. We've known each other since diapers. It's just wrong coming from you. Besides, I still call you Kachan. I can't even imagine calling you Bakugo. It's just weird, you know? But, I mean, if you want me to, I could... I don't want to make... I was cut off by a hand covering my mouth, and the blonde's face forming a teasing smile. Okay, I'll call you Izuku. Just stop rambling, he said, rolling his eyes again. But he didn't seem annoyed, just amused. My face heated up from hearing him say my name, from his closeness, from his teasing demeanor. Crap, I'm too gay for this. It actually says that inside of the fanfic. That wasn't just me. It literally says, crap, I'm too gay for this, and this is Izuku's point of view. Love that. And you can still call me Kachan. I actually prefer that, he said quietly, avoiding eye contact. He still hadn't removed his hand, so all I could do was nod my head as I stared at him with widened eyes. He looked up and seemed to suddenly remember that his hand was covering my mouth, because he slowly removed it, but didn't bring it to his side. His hand traveled from my mouth to gently His hand traveled from my mouth to gently cradling my cheek. I was semi-aware of his other hand slipping behind my back and ever so slightly bringing me closer. I was completely expecting him to kiss me. I actually wanted him to. We weren't as close as we were on the roof, still a few inches apart, but our bodies were flush against each other, just like before. I was expecting a kiss, but what I wasn't expecting was for him to suddenly wrap his arms around me and pull me into a tight hug. I was stunned for only a second, before wrapping my arms around him just as tightly, burying my head into the crook of his neck. And we just stayed like that, holding onto each other like we were each other's lifeline. And that is the end of Chapter 9. Chapter 10. Izuku's Point of View. We stayed like that, just hugging each other for the first time in years. For maybe 5 minutes? I'm not sure. Neither of us bothered to check the time. Neither of us really wanted to separate either. When I tried to pull away solely because I was worried Kachan was getting uncomfortable or probably angry. He quickly pulled me back to him. I was shocked, only for a minute, before eventually just giving in and letting him hug me until he wanted to part. Once we finally did part, we didn't talk about it. He grabbed my wrist and pulled me over to my window, causing me to look at him with a I can't English. Perplexed look. Sorry about that. Kachan, what are you doing? I asked him. I knew we had to get my piercing. I knew I had to get my piercing, but why are we doing it at my window? We have to climb out. It's after curfew. We aren't even supposed to be in our dorms, let alone the building, he said, throwing an eye roll in my direction. That's when I remembered the gravity of the situation. I was about to sneak out of the dorms after curfew with my childhood friend turned bully turned something? And I was going to get a belly button piercing. All Might's going to kill me. My mother is going to kill me. Kachan? I said hesitantly. He stopped messing with my window, which was now open with the screen nearly off, and looked at me with a worried face. Yeah? Is this really such a good idea? I mean, sneaking out and stuff. Can't we get into a lot of trouble for this? I don't want anyone to get mad at us either. Get mad at either of us, I said nervously, wringing my hands together. He seemed to relax when he figured out why I was nervous. It'll be fine, I promise, he said, grabbing my wrist again. If we do happen to get caught, you'll be with me, and I'll just say it was my idea and I forced you to go along. Pretty believable, honestly, he said with a casual shrug. My jaw dropped at him. You can't take all the blame. You aren't even forcing me to do anything, I argued. He gave me a slightly startled look, like he wasn't expecting my outburst. Izuku, trust me. It'll be okay, he said, making direct eye contact with me. Oh, okay. Then we were off. Time skip. We were finally outside the tattoo parlor, where I was going to get my piercing. The anxiety was bad before, but now that we were actually here, it had multiplied by 20. I was visibly shaking from the nerves. Kachan looked over at me. I was probably worried, and I would have a panic attack. He slowly brought me into another hug, this time wrapping his arms around me and positioning me so my arms were laying in between us. You don't have to do this if you don't want to, he whispered to me calmly. I shook my head. It's a dare, Kachan. I don't plan on losing, I said in a slightly teasing tone, pushing my head back slightly so I could see his face. I saw a flicker of a smile before it was gone, and we were both heading inside. Can I help you, Joe? A sweet-looking blonde... I did a man's voice. Can I help you, Joe? A sweet-looking blonde girl asked from behind a counter. I nervously smiled as Kachan explained what we were here for. Oh, I see. Let me just get out our piercing guy real quick. He He's probably just making out with his girlfriend in the back. Oh no, she's still talking. I thought that was his thoughts. Sorry. Oh, I see. Let me just get our piercing guy real quick. He's probably just making out with his girlfriend in the back, she said with a joking smile before disappearing in the back. Oh my god, you guys! Not in the break room! We heard the girl yell from the back. The guy, I guess the joke wasn't that much of a joke. I turned to look at Kachan. We both made eye contact and then broke down into a fit of laughter. I recovered quicker than him, but only because I was so spellbound by the fact that he was laughing. Kachan was actually genuinely laughing, with me of all people. He noticed me staring fairly soon, and sobered up enough to send me a questioning glance. I turned bright red, looking away in a hurry. Before he could ask any questions, the blonde girl returned with a stone-faced man. He had long spiky hair and piercings all over his face. He was pretty intimidating. This guy was the guy to shove a needle through my stomach. Kachan sensed my unease and leaned close to my ear. You know you could kick his ass if you... Wait. You know you could kick his ass with your pinky, right? He asked in an amused whisper. I gulped before shakily nodding. And if you seriously couldn't handle it, I'd kick his ass, he said, then pulled away and followed after the guy who had started to lead us to a chair a few feet away. Jesus Christ, Gray, put a shirt on, someone yelled from behind us. I quickly turned around to see the blonde with a boy with spiky... What? Turned around to see the blonde girl, a boy with spiky hair, and a shirtless boy with black hair. Guys, we have customers, can you not? The blonde asked them both. But Lucy, look at him. No, wait, don't look. The boy with pink hair said. With spiky pink hair. Yeah, the boy with spiky pink hair said. The girl just lightly laughed at him. A girl with light blue hair, glasses, and her nose buried in a book came out of the back room and over to the scary guy who was about to give me a piercing. Hey Gajiel, oh, sorry, I forgot that you had someone right now, she said sheepishly. Look at Kachan and I. Wait, she said sheepishly, look at Kachan and then looked at Kachan and I, who were now just standing next to the chair while the guy was sitting in a rolling stool. I say the scary guy's face softened at the slightly clueless girl. Levy, you were there? Levy, you were there 2 seconds ago when Lucy told me about them. He said slowly, with a lightly teasing tone. She rolled her eyes at him before turning to Kachan and I. Who's getting the piercing? She asked. I hesitantly raised my hand. She could clearly see how terrified I was. I promise he's not as scary as he looks. He's a softie, I swear, she said with a wink, then walked back through the door to the break room. So are you gonna do this, or are you just gonna stand there? The guy, Gajiel, I think, asked me. I nodded before sitting down. My hands were shaking in my lap. while he got everything ready, I felt a warm hand grab one of mine and pulling it away from my stomach. I looked over to see Kachan giving me a reassuring look. It wasn't a smile, but it made my stomach do flips. Wait, it wasn't a smile, but it made my stomach do it. Bleh. It wasn't a smile, but it made my stomach do flips. He actually managed to keep me distracted almost all the way through, until the needle happened. I noticed that part, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Just a little bit of pain. Breaking my arms repeatedly definitely hurt. Breaking my arms repeatedly definitely hurts worse. And that is the end of chapter 10. Thank you for watching part 2. So each one of these parts are probably going to be roughly 50 minutes to an hour long, because I'm going to be doing 5 parts in each. I don't know how many parts I don't know how many chapters this entire fanfiction has, so I will keep you guys updated for each post. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to give this video a like, and I'll see you all in the next one.